You're welcome to the Friday edition of Breakfast Central, where we take you around the country for the next 3 hours, bringing you some of the biggest political stories. We thank you for starting the week with us and wrapping up the week. As we kickstart today's show, we want to give honor to the family of their borrowers who today will be remembering and memorializing their father. Gbajabiamila's dad passed on this day, so
2 years ago.
2 years ago. May he so rest in peace.
Amen.
And our comforts to the Aborowa family. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central. I am Olive Emodi.
That's so thoughtful and kind of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm Gbajabiamila. Good morning, and thank God it's Friday. Yes, it's been quite a long week, a week of controversies, a week of drama, a week of politicking, and today brings us to the last day of the weekday. And of course, here on Breakfast Central, trust us to bring you the biggest stories making the rounds across the country, and also insightful and deep analysis of the biggest stories. Joe, it would interest you to know that the price of crude oil is now $70 on the international market, but your friends, the marketers, are refusing to budge. We're still paying above 1,000 at the pump. So let's see. I guess in the course of our conversation, we'll see what they'll do about it.
Benga,
it's morning. Particularly painful to me because if I knew petrol price was going to be high this way when I was buying my automobile, my vehicle, there are some cars that you don't call cars, they are luxury or from some millions. Yeah. They become automobile. Olive, are you driving vehicle?
I'm driving a car.
No.
And at the end of a month, do you go home with wages, emolument, or salary?
Salary.
Yeah, better still. There are some that you call, you don't call them vehicle, you don't call them automobile, you don't call them car, you call them moto. Anyway, good morning, and thank you so much for being here. And of course, Benga, condolences. It's quite thoughtful to look back and reflect back, especially with someone who
was a great man
raised
and influenced me in many, many ways. So may his soul continue to rest in peace. Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, while we talk about that, let's also mention quickly that Benga said, my friends. I just want to quickly debunk, they're not my friends.
Well, something interesting had happened.
I know. The oil marketers.
They're getting
the oil marketers 48 hours ago told the federal government that should they try to engage in price control, that they will shut down their filling stations. And Benga said the price of international crude in the market is $70. In Nigeria, it is not reflecting. As we speak to you this morning and we're bidding you farewell as you start your day, we can rightly mention here at Breakfast Central. Yes, farewell as you go about your businesses and your movement.
As you leave your
travel.
home.
It's Friday. People travel a lot. I'm going somewhere. So people will be leaving Lagos to Ibadan. You know, people will be leaving Ibadan to Port Harcourt and so on by road. Those will be driving. Get ready to buy fuel the same price or even higher. Dangote, we also heard this morning, has reduced the price from the gantry by 50 naira. So it's...
What is 50 naira?
You don't know what 50 naira is until you have to buy 100 liters.
But to me...
Benga, you doing like this for Mopo? Anyway,
you are really in the Friday.
So what we have is 1,025 naira from Dangote Refinery. We're expecting that with the reduction of prices in the international market, our own filling stations should at least sell fuel for at least 1,100 naira.
No, it should
or
be
1,085 naira. Or better still, should come down, way down, because it can't come lower than that of Dangote's gantry price. So let's say roughly 1,085 naira.
Engaged in his misadventure. We're buying
900 895, 880, 850, then 920 and so on.
That was the last time I heard fill up.
Fill up.
Olive does fill up. Olive is on that level, so let's not even...
No, I have to plan. You know why I have to plan to do fill up? Because first of all, you see the long commute we make with a full tank.
You know that whether
I know, but I must still come to work.
I mean, my full tank takes
so in my head, I just
days.
plan for full tank that can carry me for 1 week. It never carries me for 1 week.
Mine never does 1 week.
It never.
5 days max.
How come?
It just feels
you
that...
guys like to branch in other places.
No,
Do you have
from house here.
No.
It's just a reflection of the fact that, unfortunately, we have come to a point where people will end up using their salary for transport and many other things. That's what the reality of it has become in Nigeria.
Maybe New Central needs to invest in staff quarters, 5-bedroom duplex,
No,
just like judges. No, if they're building houses for judges, why can't they build houses for anchors? New Central can do it. Are you not working hard? She'll deserve any.
Mo deserve it. Kirilaye.
Exactly. I'll just say,
please, where's our staff? Where's the antebellum?
I'm coming to your 5-bedroom mansion. Are you around?
No, I'm not around.
Come on, that would be nice.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. When you leave New Central,
you now start all over again.
You now go back to 3-bed or 2-bed. You will be humble. And another thing is, if other competitors want to poach you, you first look at your mansion.
I say, can we match it?
Should I go? Had I known?
Anyway,
management ideas.
I think we should just use this medium to plead to the marketers, film marketers, please forget about the threats towards the federal government. Look at Nigerians and do the needful.
We're begging you.
The prices of fuel, of petrol has come down. So please do the needful. Let's not have a debate. And I was expecting that by now, the Minister of Petroleum, Minister of State for Petroleum, I mean, there will be a closed-door meeting as soon as possible to address this issue with the
and Nigerians were well behaved. Like, we didn't protest during the entire... you could see what was happening across the world. We took it in our strides. When it was 1,300, we bought it. So now that it's gone down, please respectfully just return into
just calm down.
School.
It is only in Nigeria that prices will go up. They will not want to come down. Like they say, what goes up must come down. In Nigeria, if it goes up, you have to fight
for it to come down. The law of gravity does not apply here in Nigeria. Okay, let's get into the conversation. Mokia Chukwemeka and the likes have been asking, give us the gist from the presidency. Well, here you have it. The presidency has dismissed allegations linking the chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, to an appointment for cash scandal, describing his accuser, Prince Adeniyi Matthew, as an impostor under investigation for forgery and impersonation. Officials clarified that the so-called Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council and Economic Advisory Council do not exist. The rebuttal followed claims by Adeniyi Matthew, who identified himself as Director General of the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council and Presidential Economic Advisory Council, alleging that Gbajabiamila demanded 27.4 billion naira from a takeoff grant and received 400 million naira through proxies to secure his appointment, with an alleged outstanding balance of 200 million naira. According to Special Advisor Bayo Ononuga, Matthew forged appointment letters operated from the Federal Secretariat and falsely presented himself as a government official. Gbajabiamila has denied any connection to him and directed security agencies to investigate what the presidency calls a fraudulent network. And there on the screen is what we have, the official release or statement, State House statement by Bayo Ononuga. Okay, so let's get into some timelines as well.
Yes.
Let's give you timelines of what happened and how these happened. On the 10th of October 2025, that was when Adeniyi meets with foreign ambassadors at a hotel in Asokoro without a foreign ministry clearance. This is, of course, clearly a breach of diplomatic protocol. As a result, on the 15th of October, which is 5 days later, Foreign Affairs writes to the National Security Advisor asking for clarification of, Adeniyi's status and wondering, who is he? Let's get the status of his agency after this quote-unquote unauthorized ambassadorial meeting. On the 17th of October, Gbajabiamila then petitions the DSS and police, alleging forged appointment letters, that these were bearing false signatures, and that they had false seals and reference numbers, and that they were not an existent government agency. Let's then go to 5 days later, October 22nd. Adeyemi's named associate, Dolapo Babatunde Tanimola, who Adeyemi later says brokered the Gbajabiamila link, dies in a fire at a hotel in Abuja. This was 5 days before Adeyemi's arrest. Then this brings us to October 27th, where Adeyemi is arrested at his Federal Secretariat office. Searches recover what police called the forged documents. 1 month later, November 27, 2025, police file an 8-count charge against Adeyemi and 2 accomplices at the Federal High Court, Abuja. And these are for conspiracy, forgery, and impersonation trial set to resume on the 27th of July, 2026. Now, June 11th, 2026, Gbajabiamila issues a public disclaimer that the PFIPC does not exist under his administration and that no appointment has been made. Then by late June, early July, Adeniyi, who's out on bail, then goes public, accusing Gbajabiamila of soliciting bribes. There you have the details of the story. Yesterday, Prince Adeniyi Matthew was on a television show as well, granting an interview where he clearly and categorically stated that he's standing by his statement, his public statement, on the fact that, you know, he's accused Gbajabiamila of collecting bribes. The matter is in court. So a number of the questions he couldn't answer, he kept saying, let the court decide my guilt. But this is giving a case of, if I'm going to fall, we must fall together. Benga?
I mean, this case it's been in the news for quite some time now, and it's shocking. I mean, my mouth is still metaphorically open in the brazenness and the shock of this. It just shows multiple failures in oversight systems, and it does have a lot of, it's unraveling, because it begs for more questions than answers. Because number one, I mean, there's so many issues to look at here. The statement by the advisor to Mr. President, Mr. Onanuga, has just opened up a whole canker worm, because we're asking more questions. The first is, the federal secretariat is not a co-working space. It's not a plaza.
No, it's not. It's not a cafe.
You can't go and do Olive and Friends salon or something there to rent. So there are documents, I mean, this is a government institution. So how do you tell me? And you say with no qualms that, you know, you open an office in the federal secretariat. How did you get approval to do it? It's not a cafe. It's not a plaza. It's not a co-working space. That's one. And then opening a CBN account. Yes. I mean, you and I, any individual on this set, cannot go to any commercial bank with fake details and be onboarded. They will not. That's just on a private level. Commercial banks, because they have their KYCs. And then you do this at the level of the Central Bank of Nigeria. That's an indictment on the government. That's two. Number three is the mysterious disappearance of the only witness,
yes.
His death in very questionable circumstances. They say dead men tell no tales. So that needs to be deeply investigated. And also, I mean, there are multiple layers to this. It was in the line item for the... How do you say an institution does not exist if there are budgetary allocations to it? It's not... I mean, there's provisions for this so-called agency in the 2026 budget. So what this just shows, and that's the foundation of everything, that the assertion by Mr. Onanuga is false. Nigerians are going to ask questions. You're not just going to give us a statement and say, okay, let's take everything hook, line, and sinker. How did it make it into the budget? Why was 1.3 billion naira budgeted for this agency in 2026 if it's not a recognized institution of government? There you go. There you have it. Presidential Economic Advisory Council, Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council. That's the budget. 1.3 billion naira. So it would be nice for Mr. Onanuga and the government side to answer these questions, because Nigerians do have a right to know how their taxpayers' monies are being spent. And this is an indictment on a global scale. It's highly embarrassing for this sort of things to be happening in 2026.
It's sad. It's sad, guys. I like the way we've come with a lot of receipts as well. And social media is filled with receipts.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I were the spokesperson to the president talking about Mr. Onanuga, I might have to possibly have a retraction and see how I can put out forms of clarity and answer all the questions. One thing we need to also state here very clearly, Benga, is that for many of us, let's start off first from this side of the divide. For most of us who have been journalists and have been in the news, you know, worked from the newsroom, be it whether it's in the sports desk, whether it's in the news and current affairs desk, you name them. this story has kind of like made it seem like we have been fooled, as it were, from knowing what is right and what is wrong. And we need to say this clearly. This morning, good enough, we're also going to have this conversation in the course of our programming today. We have a guest who will be joining us to dissect this. We must be circumspect with the truth. We must come with clean hands. And Benga, you've highlighted a timeline. Now, let me also elaborate more on that. One, this same agency employed over 300 persons.
Thank you.
300 people were employed in this same agency. The question now is, the Minister of State for Labor and Employment needs to answer questions. How is it that there were approval, the head of civil service of the Federation, there were approvals that were given for the employment of over 300 persons in this same ministry that you say does not exist? It's a sham agency, as it were. That's one. Mm-hmm. Two, we also have another question. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Yemi Cardoso, also needs to talk to his people and ask questions. How is it that you people were able to open accounts for this same ministry or agency, whichever way you want to call it? How that it passed through the KYC, like you've mentioned, and documents were filed with signatories that eventually led to opening an account? The federal government has come out to say, oh, yes, but that account, there's no money inside. That's number two. Number three, the same agency has a website. As we speak now, they have deactivated the website. They deactivated it yesterday. It was still working. Unfortunately, we're not fast to have quickly done a video, screen grab of the website and show it to Nigerians. But this is proof how you can check if the website exists. This is it from the back end, from the domain name. You can see the domain name there. It's registered under the gov.ng. The handle, it gives you the code, the number. For those who are professionals when it comes to building websites and, of course, hosting rights, you understand what this definitely is. That's number three. Number four, let's not even go far. The Secretary of the Government to the Federation, the SGF, his office, is actually a custodian when it comes to official register of legitimate MDAs. There is no ministry or departmental agency that can exist without the what's that word? What's that appended signatory of the Secretary General of the Federation. There is no way on earth it would happen. There are many other layers we can go about to talk concerning this issue. So many of them. This person, in quotes, was representing Nigeria, speaking to investors. Let's not even go far.
Organize it.
We have video. You know what?
Senior members of the diplomat.
So that's actually what I wanted to say. Because in addition to that...
Olive, let's watch this video. Let them just watch this video.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to specially welcome you all on behalf of the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council to this very special and wonderful pre-World Investment Summit Day.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we gather to unveil the official agenda and logo of World Investment Summit, symbolizing the start of our collective journey. We will engage our diplomatic partners and development institutions in shaping and supporting the summit's vision.
We congratulate the Nigerian government on this. This is a worthy effort in order to bring the necessary direct investment to Nigeria.
For the World Investment Summit. It's actually a good end of this week, which was for me Economy and Business Week. We started with the Nigeria Economic Summit.
Begin by acknowledging the incredible stride made by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR through the Leading Hope agenda.
Right? I mean, just to push that, Adeniyi did not operate in the shadows. He didn't operate in darkness.
I mean, it was open.
We can see he was in the open. If he feared that he had anything really to hide, he probably wouldn't have had the nerve to do it as openly as he did. So the question is, all the people who are associated with him, all the people who attended and approved these official unveils and these events, they all should be questioned as well. Like, how did it get this far? Again, to highlight and to add to what my colleagues have said, Benga and Joe have spoken about the fact that he ran an agency, he had staff, he had bank accounts opened with CBN. But the bigger picture is the fact that 1.3 billion naira was slipped into our budget. What's the mechanism for the entry of the 1.3 million in the budget?
Thank you.
1.3 billion is not 1,300 naira.
No.
So that's one. How did 1.3 billion get into the budget? The assembly that, looked at this budget and approved it, they also have a question to answer, because it tells us that they haven't looked at the items line by line. And if 1.3 billion can be discovered after this while, the question is, how much more has been slipped into our budget without our knowledge? Then there's the question of EFCC. Is this going to be, yes, it's a matter in court, and the court will determine the innocence or the guilt
He didn't even meet.
He met with
the
EFCC chairman, went to visit him.
So the court will determine the guilt or the innocence of Adeniyi Matthew, Gbajabiamila. But the question is, if the EFCC does not prosecute the parties, does not carry out thorough investigation and bring the parties to answer a case, then those who have accused the EFCC of selective persecution or selective prosecution will be well within their right to say that. Because this is a case of fraud, a matter of financial fraud. Look at the picture of the said man with Olukoyede together. This is not a good picture.
Exchanging souvenirs after the visit.
This is not a good picture. This is not a good look.
The meeting was to strengthen
EFCC
ties.
has to speak about this. But beyond speaking, there has to be results. How long did this man run this agency? For months, undetected. He claims the agency was run in 2024. He's been asked for an appointment letter that he hasn't shown yet, because he says the matter is already in court. We're waiting to see what evidence will be tendered in court. But I really hope and pray that this thing, gets to a final conclusion, and it's not one of the many scenarios where Nigerians are being fooled, because this is very embarrassing, to say the least. That this is not one of the ones where they'll make a lot of noise, media trial, and after that, we will move on.
And the spokesperson to Mr. President, his response and that press statement is highly disrespectful to the intelligence of millions of Nigerians. There are questions to be asked. It goes beyond the mere statement. I mean, this is a man that met with National Assembly leadership. That's Benjamin Kalu. That's the Deputy Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. You think he would just meet with a non-entity or somebody that has pulled a wool over the eyes of millions of Nigerians? And if we even go by what Mr. Bayo Ononuga is claiming in that press statement, that, this is a fraudster, is an impostor, that means it's an admission of one of the biggest institutional failures in the recent political history of Nigeria. Because how did he fool all of you?
Fooled everybody.
That means there's...
How did he fool the National Assembly?
One.
How did they allow this to pass?
Two.
Federal Civil Service Secretariat.
Budget Office.
Budget Office.
4.
And now the Presidency. How did he fool everybody?
5.
So if we're admitting that man is a fraud and an imposter, all these other bodies are culpable.
Exactly.
Everybody.
They are all responsible.
And there should be consequences for it.
Because how did he get away with it? As a person here, as a random person cannot come and pose to be an anchor on New Central Television.
No, wait.
And then my MD will now come out and say, we don't know that person. No,
yes.
They are not part of New Central. That's literally what has happened.
That's what is going on.
Then the person will have been hosting show for a while. Then later come and argue that HR,
and he has a
salary account. And he will argue that HR gave him a letter. MD will say, no, we didn't give him letter, or we didn't give her letter, or she's a fraud, or he's a fraud. That's literally what has happened.
And the person has been showing on TV. Has been presenting to to Nigerians, presenting to Nigerians. The person has not just presented to Nigerians, the person has even interviewed big names. Like we had the commissioner, we spoke to the governor, the person is there doing everything. All of a sudden.
I mean, that's just the best.
You now say, no, we don't know this person, no. Who is this person? This person is an impersonator. He has done this, he has done that, he has done this.
I'm happy he's in court, and the courts will look at the the case before.
I say regardless of what the court's
This is a
decision
test.
is, the fact that it can get to this point, the fact that this
Look at
man
the Senate
who
letter.
they claim to be an imposter can have an agency
And
with salaries, correspondence to prove.
the Senate.
You know, and then there's pictorial evidence. Unless they want to come and tell us that evidence is doctored and is AI. That's which is going to be also very funny. So the fact that we can be in this situation is already an embarrassment.
No, I really want to know what Mr. Bayo Onanuga expects from Nigerians.
No, not just Mr. Bayo Onanuga. The presidency.
The presidency.
But we're going to itemize. I'm happy that we're going to have this conversation. What should be the steps going forward right now as we speak? If you're a Nigerian and you've not heard about Gbajagate, the story, then you possibly live under the rock.
Fake agency.
This is going to be the biggest. Trust me. I mean, I trust News Central. We know what we do. We're going to go deeper and dig deeper, of course, with our investigative journalists, and we're going to put everything together in a string line and share with Nigerians so you get to understand the audacity. By the way, let's watch a video. The man in question, the DG himself, had a little press conference. In that press conference, he came to clear his name. I don't know if our producers have that press conference, that video. It was actually an amateur footage. Let's watch. Just listen to what he says. Listen.
Where Chief of Staff to the President has meritoriously served for good 20 years and rose from minority leader, majority leader, and then speaker for good 4 years. I mean, he rose to be the number 4 citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the question becomes unaffordable. At what point in the process did reference to non-existent agency allegedly enter the official record? And if that are indeed present in an official documentation, what that implies about the integrity of the process that produced and approved those documents? For President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to assented his signature to a budget that includes a non-existent agency, according to his chief of staff, is an embarrassment to this advocating government. My distinguished media practitioner, when the question persists regarding administrative process, budget lines, and institutional communication allegedly connected to this agency, if it doesn't exist, the said acclaimed non-existent agency have domiciliary, pounds, and treasury single account, all domiciled in the central bank of Nigeria. So what Chief of Staff is telling Nigeria is that the CBN governor, with his 4 deputies, 16 capable directors, and over 5,300 staffs are clueless not to have dictated a fraudulent document for opening accounts.
Okay, so I think the man in question has asked the most important questions.
Absolutely.
Outlined them. One thing that we also need to know is that if I were Mr. President, I think I will ruffle some feathers this morning because the president has a signature on the fiscal budget.
I agree with you that this is embarrassing.
It's highly
embarrassing to the to the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and people need to be fired. Heads need to roll for this. Like, people need to be sacked as a result, because what is the explanation? How do you explain that Nigerians that are political class were fooled to this extent, and Nigerians are not buying it? And the question we must point out is, we're not saying who's guilty or who isn't guilty. The court will decide that. What we're saying is, for us to even get to this level where there could have been an agency that is allegedly approved by the presidency, even though the presidency has come out to deny giving such approval, the fact that we can be here is an embarrassment to us as a people, to our intelligence as Nigerians, and is a huge embarrassment to the current administration. Elections is in a few months. These are some of the metrics that will be weighed, engaging public opinion, engaging how Nigerians perceive the current administration. So it's important for clarity to be given. Bayo Onanuga had come out with a statement accusing Matthew Adeniyi of falsely parading himself as an ambassador sometime in 2016. The truth is, regardless of what the explanation is, Nigerians want to understand a few things. How did the allocation for that get into the budget? How were you able to have been fooled for so long? So we've seen that first press release. We want another one that answers these questions. How did he get into the budget? How were you able to be fooled for so long? How did he open an account and have this staff strength and pay all of them salaries? When you have answered that question, then Nigerians will know what the next step is. And this is not a situation of we don't owe Nigerians an explanation. You absolutely do owe Nigerians an explanation because it is taxpayers' money that is being used to fund all of this.
I see what the government is doing. They're pushing back and they're saying, so what they're doing is actually, they don't know that they're inadvertently admitting multiple government failures. The statement by the State House says the presidency confirms that a line item bearing code 0111062 in the name of presidential, the later entity did not constitute. So the presidency has directed the budget office to establish the origin, approved trail, releases, payroll status, how it got. They will now take submissions from national. Anyway, they want to investigate how that go into the budget. Another one, they are indicting themselves, another self-indictment by the State House. It says it has also come to our notice that the so-called agency, PFIPC, has a website hosted on the .gov.ng domain. And the website was managed by another agency, the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. So no private individual. So to look at multiple levels of failure. So now they are saying the investigation, while we acknowledge it is next to impossible for individuals to build websites on the .gov.ng domain and get NITDA to maintain it without insider complicity, the presidency has directed the relevant authorities to investigate. I mean, they should just come clean with this. There are multiple layers of corruption. And how can one individual fool all these government agencies? Multiple oversight failures. That's why we're where we are today. Quite sad, quite sad.
We are about to see this. I mean, I'm already thinking from my production experience. I'm thinking of already a documentary. I'm thinking of already putting a movie together. I'm thinking of already writing a book on this because this is going to be a story that has multiple layers of confusion. You cannot say. I like the press conference the said person called for, where he even asked the questions, and those questions are so deep. Are you saying that the CBN governor, the 16 directors under the CBN watch, name them? Are you also saying that Honorable Barao Jibrin, not forgetting to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, name them, all of them who are saddled with the responsibility, Benga, to review the constitutional budget every year? Are you saying that they don't see it? Are you saying that all of the people representing Nigerians at the House of Representatives and also at the Senate got this budget, they looked at it,
and they didn't notice that something was wrong?
Your Honorable...
and now that the whistle has been blown, you now come up with all the statements admitting your failure.
Like your own nonchalance.
So we're supposed to clap for you.
I want to ask a
question. But just to speak to
what
what the presidency had said regarding him falsely parading himself as a youth ambassador, there was an article that was published on the 23rd of January 2027 by the Nigerian Tribune. And the title of the article is World Youth President Matthew Assumes Office Today. He says, a Nigerian, Adeniyi Matthew, who was recently elected as the President General of the United Nations Youth at the organization's headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, will today assume office officially. Matthew, in a statement issued by his spokesperson, Mr. Adiola Badru, on assumption of office, will seek the approval of Security Council to appoint 967 nominees that will work with him across the globe. This is, of course, because of what the presidency has claimed that he did present himself as what he isn't. But, you know, that's subject to being proved or being disproved. Well, I want us to see your reactions. Nigerians are already reacting on YouTube. I want us to take a few comments about that on YouTube, and then we can come to our final thoughts. On YouTube, of course, we can see from the reactions that Nigerians don't seem to be pleased with this. Prince Ajibade says, Bayo Onanuga has complicated the issue. We have seen this man almost everywhere, holding meetings with diplomats on behalf of the government. Can any of you in the studio open an account with the CBN? Michael Zeus says, Olive Benga and Joe, if you believe Bayo Onanuga, then you will soon believe that a man can become pregnant. Office at Federal Secretariat, CBN account, budget allocation, and then court delay for 7 months. Hashtag Gbajagate. He goes on to say, this man has an office in the Federal Secretariat. Can News Central have a studio or even an office in the Secretariat? What nonsense is Onanuga saying? A psychopath. Anyway, Marco Yechukwemeka asked, I hope you people don't believe what Onanuga tweeted. Oyedokun Olaide says, nothing is absolutely impossible in Nigeria. How will the federal government respond to opening of accounts in CBN? How will federal government respond to office? Well, in one of Africa's country, the president can't show his certificate. Okay. Joseph Mwagba says, unfortunately, you will never know the truth because the information you feed us are always secondary. None of you will tell us, sorry, I don't understand this English show. As he said, the story died before it was told. Okay. OA says, this is simply a scam that government officials are aware and complicit. Wow, corruption at the highest level. Nigeria is the biggest joke in the world today. Esther Ogbonna says, okay, thank you very much, Esther, for the preaching this morning. Arthur Rich says, if EFCC did not prosecute Betta Edu, nothing will happen to Femi Gbajabiamila. Annie Chinedu Brown says, the Adeyemi's imbroglio is tantamount to devil's alternative. Which way the pendulum swings, its indictment of governments involved is a heist. Methinks government will pay him heavily to admit being a con man than indicating the government's complicit in the heist. Look, regardless of how it goes, the government has in some way been complicit. The fact that that got into the budget is already an admission of, like, it's already complacency of the highest order.
You know what I was thinking? And I'm just going to ask this to every Nigerian. If that 1.3 billion could make its way into Nigeria's fiscal budget, how are we sure that the other
That's exactly what I said.
Items
what are we sure of what has slipped in?
Are valid.
Are valid. Because, bear in mind, because ministries were crying a few months ago that they've not seen shishi, no money.
Yes, or they only get a small percentage of their capital component of the budget.
So how are we sure? This brings every single thing that has been done in the past 1 year into serious question.
Yes, under the searchlight.
Pretty much.
Well, at the end of the day, the summary of it is that there are strong allegations that have been made. This matter is within the court domain. It is not within our own jurisdiction to determine the guilt or the innocence of anyone. What we can share with you is the information on the public domain, which we have shared, and the fact that there are certain things that are clear, very obviously clear. The fact that there are so many bodies and individuals and agencies that will be indicted as a result of this even being a story for us to be discussing.
Maybe I should go and get a workspace in the National Secretariat.
It's not hard.
I should get, since I can have space.
Or we can start
just put pictures.
A kuli business.
I can start something there. You know, Secretariat office.
Like trouble.
See, that office has AC.
And
guess what? The man also has security aid, police.
Yeah, it has a police orderly that follows it.
Yes, so. Come on.
So many, multiple layers of institutional.
We're waiting for the court to determine what the situation is. And we're hoping that this is a speedy trial. We're waiting for the EFCC as well.
And I hope we stay on the issue till July 27th. Because it's a long time. Because we're moving on swiftly away from the kids that are in the forest. It's 50+ days now.
And then we haven't talked as much about the recent killings that happened in Plateau last week. Well, Nigeria will never cease to surprise
This one will follow up. Don't worry.
We'll continue to follow up with this story.
But let's see what Nigerians
But we'll talk about it
X,
much later. Okay, can we take what Nigerians are saying on X, or do we head to our headlines? All right, let's bring you our headlines. But keep the comments coming on YouTube. We'll take it much later when we're discussing the story in full, and with our guests this morning.
Before we go, some developing news with regards to Mr. Adeyemi, Prince Adeyemi. He spoke to Premium Times from hiding, insisting the presidency is only trying to silence him. He says, you know, the government we have, they are just playing a defense mechanism to shut me up. My organization was set up in 2024.
So that means 2 years, a year of running the organization. Let's tell you what we're discussing this morning on Breakfast Central. This morning, where our top stories, Abuja Federal High Court confirms David Mark as valid national chairman of the ADC. Is it safe to say it's Uhuru? We'll find out. Controversy mounts over construction of a second airport project in Anambra State. Regional integration boost. President Bola Tinubu commissions new ECOWAS headquarters. Did you see when he hailed the First Lady and called her Iyala Kara? 27 billion naira bribery allegations against the Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. We'll review the newspaper front pages. Our guests will come in and we'll open the phone lines to get your thoughts on that as well. Stay with us.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. The African Democratic Congress has received a significant legal boost after a federal high court affirmed the leadership of the party under former Senate President David Mark and dismissed a suit challenging the party's current structure. The judgment is being viewed as a major development for the ADC as it seeks to reposition itself ahead of the 2027 general elections. The court decision not only reinforces the legitimacy of the party's leadership, but also provides greater certainty as it continues to attract new members and consolidate on its internal structures.
Now, while supporters of the party have described the ruling as a victory for internal democracy and the rule of law, political observers say it also shifts attention to the ADC's next challenge, which is building a united platform capable of presenting itself as a credible alternative in Nigeria's evolving political landscape. This morning, we examine the implications of the court ruling, what it means for the ADC's internal cohesion, and how the party plans to position itself ahead of the 2027 elections with our guest, who's a member of the African Democratic Congress, Ogba Ogene-Ugaga. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, viewers. Good morning, Mr. Benga. Good morning, Mr. Joe and Helen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on the show.
All right. So is it safe to say that, your party's troubles are over? Are congratulations in order regarding the court decision affirming the David Mark-led leadership of the ADC, especially because this is not the first time we've seen an affirmation of the David Mark-led leadership?
Okay, first of all, let me say this very clearly. My party, the ADC, does not even before now have any issue. As a matter of fact, what the victory yesterday affirmed by Honorable Justice Musa Lima is a fact that the ADC as a party is the only opposition meant for Nigeria. What we had was the fact that we had APC. Yes, I would say Honorable Leke was being sponsored by the APC to make Nigeria a one-party state. If you look at it from the very same, the party had a resolution. The leadership of the party was handed over duly to Senator David Mark. So why is Honorable Leke saying that he wants to go to court? Why did he take the party to court? Simply because he wants the ADC to have an issue, then the only alternative for Nigerians will be APC. But I will tell you this. Let me give a simple illustration. Why I said the ADC before now had no issue. Yes, we had no issue even before now. For example, if a father owns a property and the father said, yes, I own this property, let me give it to my third son, for example, and other family members were there, present the mass attendance, which is INEC and every other person they were there. They agreed that, okay, this property I have will be handed over to my third son, and everybody agreed. Does the first son or second son have any legal standing in going to court when it was the father, the owner of the property, that handed it over to the third son? That was just what happened. So as a matter of fact, the ADC does not have before now any issue. It was just some, I will use the word, some riffraff just trying to play around. And we thank God that Honorable Justice Musa Lisman did the right thing, and he has proved that truly the court is the last hope of the common man. When I mean the common man, I mean Nigerians.
Now, Ogab, still looking at your party, I mean, you say there was no issue in the first place, and this is a significant milestone, but there's still trouble brewing because there's a pending lawsuit with regards to deregistration of your party. How concerning is that to you?
Like I said earlier on, we don't have any issue. What we have, what we had in court is just some legal grandstand where some persons just want to cause problem. Some persons just want the country to go into a one-party state. I will emphasize on that. Whatever thing you are seeing the ADC going through in court is being sponsored by the APC. It's being sponsored by the APC, and we, the Nigerian people, We will not allow it. The leadership of Senator David Mark will not allow it. So whatever thing you are hearing that the ADC has issue in court, whatever thing you are hearing that the ADC has some legal, is just forget about it. The ADC is here to stay for Nigerians. As a matter of fact, we are the only opposition in Nigeria. And that is what the APC is afraid of. The APC is afraid of the ADC because they know that if we go into the 2027 general election, they will be roundly defeated. Nigerians are angry, and they all need an alternative, and the ADC is here. Now, let me tell you something. Some days ago, or should I say over a week ago, we had the First Lady saying that he wants to empower people to fry akara and to do kuli-kuli. Now, let me tell you, who are these people he wants to give those grants to? These people are the only person who can fry akara is actually the daughter of an akara seller. The person who can fry kuli-kuli is the daughter or the son of the kuli-kuli seller. So he wants an akara seller, the daughter or the son of an akara seller, to continue frying akara. She wants the son of the kuli-kuli seller to continue selling kuli-kuli, and this is what the APC wants. And the APC has been fighting because they want to continue impoverishing Nigerians. And that is why the ADC as a party, we are saying that, no, this is not what we want. Now, Awolowo said something. He said he doesn't want the son of his driver, the son of his cook, to be a cook or a driver to his own children. These are leaders, not people. How can a first lady come out in public to say that she wants to empower people to start frying akara and kuli-kuli? You know, these are things that the ADC will never do when we take power come 2027. So for reasons like this, because they want Nigerians to continue suffering, to continue dying of starvation, of hunger, and of insecurity, so they begin to bring this useless policy and other things. And that is why they are in court using so many other means. They used, yesterday, Honorable Adeniyi has failed. They've gone through other means before they have failed under the leadership of Senator David Mark and the leadership of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. ADC will work stronger. ADC will keep working stronger. And as a matter of fact, come 2027, I will tell the APC to their face that their fears, the fear they have that will defeat them, will come to pass. So on that issue, forget about any other thing you are saying. Yeah, the ADC has issue in court. Just forget about those things. As a matter of fact, it is just shivering from the APC. They are the ones sponsoring all of it. Yes, there's evidence to it. There are evidence to it.
I'm not just trying to be funny when I ask you what is the evidence that the APC is sponsoring, because it feels like once there's a slight hiccup in the opposition party, the APC is always the first candidate that you blame. So what is your evidence? You're saying that there's evidence that the APC is sponsoring. What's your evidence?
Okay, on live TV, we saw the chief of staff to the president telling Honorable Adeleke, telling him that stay there, don't come here, cause problem. Yes, he said it on live TV. That he should not come, he should remain in ADC and continue the legal issues. As a matter of fact, when Honorable Deji Adeleke knows that he was going to lose, where did he decamp to? That will tell you all. Where did he decamp to? As a matter of fact, he's a member of the APC today, after failing woefully in the assignment he was given. So these are some of the issues. These are evidence. How can a chief of staff come and say that cause issues in the opposition? So if he's not planning to take Nigeria into a one-party state, and as a matter of fact, he did not just say that. I believe that was a unanimous decision from the APC room, inner caucus room. And I can tell you to that, the Nigerians are very lucky that we have Senator David Mark, a general, a military general anyway. A general is always a general, so I will not say former general. A general, as the chairman of the opposition, the only opposition party, the ADC in Nigeria today. So, which is a
slight network glitch there. Let's hope that we can reconnect with you to get your thoughts on some other questions that we have to ask concerning the ADC. But That's just the update. And the update simply is that the chairman has been affirmed, a former senator, and definitely one who is championing the cause of an opposition party.
So I saw a comment on social media. Former senator representing Kaduna, Senator Shehu, I believe.
Musa.
Shehu Sani, yes. He said that now that the judiciary has made a pronouncement in favor of the opposition, that does it mean, I think that was a snide comment, that the judiciary is now the last hope, is back to being the last hope of the common man? And
well, I guess
Bayo Ononuga was quick to retweet it.
Well, I guess our guest has been able to say that the judiciary is the common hope, is the last hope of the common man, as it were. But the points are indeed clear. He's saying that they are back, they never left, and they are the one and only opposition, the rightful opposition party come 2020.
He also sounded very confident and dismissive of the other case they have with regards to deregistration. Is that being bold or being careless? Because if you don't watch your gut, you never know what will come. So it might look confident and arrogant, but in politics, you have to take every thing serious, especially looking at the political climate in this country before it takes you by surprise. But for the ordinary Nigerian, what we should be discussing is actually policies, interrogating politics, interrogating policies, scrutinizing the candidates, looking at their track record. We spend so much time on political gossip and the drama rather than the substance of improving the lives of millions of Nigerians. I mean, it's elections in a few months. Nobody even knows what policies these parties represent, what their manifesto is. But I guess from August, when the campaign started, and I'm also afraid that, campaigns is just noise and insults and dancing and sharing of exercise book and polo.
And it feels like the ADC...
talk about the substance of governance.
And the ADC has a lot of work cut out for it, beyond it having won this, even though he says ADC leadership was not in contest, but we've seen it here, we've had conversations, but it's been able to present a united front and be ready for elections in 2027. Because right now it seems that every other political party has been shaken by internal politics. The only party that seems to be united on a federal level, and I'm not talking about state level, is APC. For obvious reasons, there's a power of incumbency, that is at work or at play here. But they seem to have been able to play their politics and put their house in order in preparation for 2027. Opposition has a lot of work to do to ensure that it's ready, and that they are able to scale through the different landmines that have been placed on their path. But let's tell you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commissioned the new headquarters of the ECOWAS in Abuja, describing the edifice as a symbol of renewed commitment to regional integration, to peace, and to economic transformation, I beg your pardon. He was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima. The president called on member states to move beyond being a regional market and become a regional production base. Our correspondent was there and now brings this report. Of course, Bettina Ngweli, New Central State House correspondent, brings this report.
President Bola Tinubu says the commissioning of the new ECOWAS headquarters in Abuja marks a renewed commitment to regional integration, peace, and shared prosperity across West Africa. Speaking through Vice President Kashim Shettima, the president described the new complex known as the Eye of Africa as a symbol of resilience and confidence in the future of the regional bloc.
The regional integration can no longer be an economic imperative alone. It has become a comprehensive framework for our collective security, our political stability, our sustainable development, and the welfare of our peoples. These realities summon us to renewed dialogue, to deeper solidarity, and to a shared sense of collective responsibility. For the door of this community must remain open even to those who have chosen, for now, to stand apart from us.
ECOWAS Chairman, President Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone, praised Nigeria's leadership and China's support in delivering the landmark project, describing the new headquarters as a renewed promise to the over 450 million people of West Africa.
ECOWAS Vision 2050 charts our path towards a peaceful, prosperous, inclusive and resilient community that is built on deeper regional integration, expanded trade and investment, stronger connectivity, greater innovation and wider opportunity for every citizen. The greatest strength of West Africa has always been its people.
China consistently views and builds its relationship with ECOWAS from a strategic and long-term perspective. We firmly support ECOWAS in playing a leading role in maintaining regional peace, promoting development, and improving livelihoods. China remains forever a trustworthy, sincere friend and a reliable partner to ECOWAS and all West African nations.
The new ECOWAS headquarters is expected to strengthen regional coordination and serve as a hub for advancing peace, economic cooperation, and sustainable development across West Africa. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Interesting story there from Bettina Nwili. Just to add that that ECOWAS headquarters was built and handed over to the government by the, it was a gift from the Chinese government. It cost $56.6 million. Away from that, the Ibrahim Turaki-led faction of the People's Democratic Party in Plateau State has presented certificate of return to candidates who emerged victorious in the party's primary election. Speaking at the party secretariat in Jos, Plateau State Chairman Raymond Dabo urged members and supporters to shun character assassination and focus instead on issue-based campaigns ahead of the elections. The party's governorship candidate, Sunday Biggs, also called on INEC to comply with the judgments of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court by recognizing the Turaki-led PDP, warning that failure to do so would create uncertainty in the state's political process.
That you are going to be our candidates, I'm urging you that the campaign should be issue-based. Don't assassinate anybody's character. We shall restrain ourselves, even under provocation, from time to time. You are going to have the support of the party. You are going to have the support of the people of Plateau State. And indeed, we are going to have the support of our presidential candidate, Ebele Jordan.
Where INEC is supposed to respect and implement the decisions of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. Immediately that is done, PDP will come back stronger than ever before. Definitely, there's no way they can refuse that order. We are presently in court to obtain an order of mandamus compelling them to act. And definitely, by the grace of God, INEC as a federal institution, they must respect the laws of the land. If they don't do that, perhaps it's a recipe for anarchy.
I'm sure INEC has a lot to deal with while they're dealing with the chairman's issues against Nigerians. They're also dealing with political back and forth, especially with political parties. But let's bring you a recap of what we've talked about. So far, so good here on Breakfast Central for the first hour as we delve into the second. A quick recap concerning Plateau PDP primaries. Turaki faction presents certificates of return. ADC David Mark's leadership, yes, no longer in question as Abuja Federal High Court confirms his chairmanship. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu commissions new ECOWAS headquarters, and you heard the Vice President speak as well. Let's tell you what's coming up next here on Breakfast Central. Coming up next, we'll talk about the controversy concerning a second airport project in Anambra State. When we focus on health, experts in Benue warn against delayed treatment. It's a big situation. Plus the hashtag Gbajabiamila, controversy known as Gbajagate. We'll look into that in a moment.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. Controversy is mounting over the ongoing construction of a second airport in Anambra State. The state government had initially denied the report last year, but recent videos showed the Commissioner for Information of the State, Dr. Mefor, speak about its construction. This development sparked heated debate across political, economic and civic circles. Supporters of the project argue it will position Anambra as a regional hub, attract investment and create jobs. But critics say it's an extravagant venture, especially when the existing airport is struggling to reach full operational capacity.
Well, let's tell you that at the heart of the dispute are questions of governance, transparency and priorities. Who truly benefits from this project? The people of Anambra or a select few? Is this about development or political prestige? Well, let's have joining us this morning to unpack the issues. We're joined by good governance advocate and, of course, political analyst who has been following the story very closely. And Mr. Kingsley Ubani joins us this morning on Breakfast Central. Good morning to you, Mr. Ubani.
Good morning.
Great.
Yeah. Good morning, I'm happy.
Okay. So what's this back and forth? I mean, you have been very vocal over the issue surrounding the alleged construction of a second airport in Anambra State, when the first is still underutilized. So why has this become a major source of concern, alongside the outrage that that has actually followed the construction of this particular project?
The outrage is, we have Anambrans are, let me say, in shock, because this airport project is something that most Anambrans we are not expecting. It was in last year, September, that rumors broke that Anambra State was building a new airport. And people reacted to it. The reaction wasn't good. People were like, but we have an airport, which was just, commissioned just 5 years ago. And the commissioner came out to debunk that there was no plans to build any airport. And then that was it. So fast forward to June, just last month, the commissioner made a statement in an interview where he was asked a question, concerning the plans of the administration for, second term. And he said that, one of the things the administration is doing already is building an airport. And he went further to say that the airport is even 30% completion. And the Anambra are like, how? You just 10 months ago, you said there was no plans to build an airport. So suddenly, the airport that moved from 10 months ago, it moved from, that stage to already 30% completion. No communication with respect to what, you're doing, with respect to building such an airport. What economic importance, will it going to serve with respect to the fact that we already have an airport, and the governor of the state is a professor of economics. And people are worried, the basic economics principles that we know, scale of preference, opportunity cost, is not being, looked at. What is it going to cost the state to build a second airport? Just barely 5 years that we already have one. The one we have now is underutilized. Instead of improving it to capacity, the state governor is building a new one. And incidentally, this new airport is building it in his region of the state. So there's an argument that the governor is building this airport, in his area, so that he can have, easier access, to an airport. So Anambrans are worried because this is a state that an average senior civil servant earn barely 100K. This is a state where it's difficult for graduates to find meaningful and gainful employment. There are so many things that is going to give way, that's going to cost Anambrans to build such an airport. And the last airport that we built, the current one that we're using, cost us about 19 billion in 2021 to build, and it's currently valued about 120 billion. So, and everybody's worried, like, are we going to just waste money to build a new airport that's going to cost over 60 billion naira when we could do other things in the area of healthcare, in the area of education, in the area of job creation, and we are focusing on building an airport? So it is my opinion that this airport project is just, I will call it an egocentric project that the governor just wants to mount in his area. And the funny thing is that it's a secret project. Like, there is no communication from the Anambra State government in any official capacity that they are building an airport. In fact, the interview where the commissioner mentioned that they are building an airport, he wasn't asked about airports. He was just asked a question and he managed to throw in airport to it. And then Anambra are worried. How can you spend such humongous amount of money belonging to the people of the state and you're treating it as if it's your private resources? Is the Anambra State governor building a private airport with public money? That is the question on the lips of Anambra.
Okay, Kingsley, you said the government has been very coy in communicating construction of this airport. But let's take a listen to the Honorable Commissioner of Information of Anambra State, Dr. Law Mefor, and then I'll be back to pose my question to you.
It's a whole cluster of industries that are sort of driven by aviation as a sector. That shows the real reason why we have a second airport in the making. So there will be a second airport. We expect that in the next 1 to 2 years, flights will be received in the new airport.
So, Kingsley, there you have the commissioner admitting that, yes, there will be a second airport, and he hopes that in 2-3 years, it will be operational for flights to come in and out. Supporters of this project say it's not just an airport. It's laying the foundation for an aeropolis designed to anchor a massive industrial city. In your assessment, is this a credible long-term economic strategy, or are we witnessing the mistake of building expensive infrastructure in the hope that investment will eventually follow? Because they've also said, they're trying to make it a regional hub.
Now, the same plan that they had for this particular airport is the same plan that was, that was in place for the current airport, Umweri Airport. Is a hub, is a metropolis. Like, they want to build, like the current one, Anambra State call it Anambra Mixed Industrial City. That's what they call this one they're building. But it's still the same thing. The only thing is that the government doesn't want to improve this particular one because somehow the governor of Anambra State feels this new one he's building is closer to his hometown, which is around his region of his state. So the worries that Anambra are having is, if you're building a new airport and you're abandoning improving this one, what will now be the cost implication with respect to the investment, the resources of Anambra that have already been put into? Mind you, when this particular airport, the current one that we're using, was being built, so many things suffer because it was a priority project. I was involved with, I worked with some pension coordination. My father, there was a money that the former governor released, and because of this airport that they were building the last time, that money could not get to retirees. So it's delayed payment, and so many retirees could not even get their money before they, before they died. So it comes with opportunity cost. It comes with delays in other areas of funding. So if you're building an airport that will cost, because it's a priority project, the governor is looking at building it between the next 2-3 years. So he's going to pump in money into it, and it's going to mean that other areas of development are going to suffer. So why are we in a haste to build a second airport when we already built one just 5 years ago? And that is just the worry. If we are going to build a second airport, it's not something we can do immediately, because the governor of Anambra State was, part and parcel of the last administration, and he was there at the groundbreaking and the commissioning of this airport. Now, while abandon it to go and build a new one with the scarce resources we have as a state, the state is an mixed industrial city. I personally don't believe that is all about mixed industrial city, because the other airports have capabilities for such development that they are talking about. The landmass of that particular airport, this current one, is huge enough to accommodate whatever the governor wants to do. But he feels he needs to bring this airport closer to his local government, and it's at a huge cost to Anambra.
So what are the Anambra saying? What are they saying now? Since the governor has said, listen, I'm going to go on to build this one. What are you guys asking for?
The majority of Anambra don't even know that the governor is building an airport. That is the first thing. Majority don't even know that the governor is building an airport, because the last formal communication was the one you just showed me, the commissioner denying that the airport is being built. The video you just showed, the question they asked him wasn't about airport. They asked him what is Solution 2.0 about. And in mentioning some of the things, he just mentioned airport. So it was kind of, a side interview that kind of flew into the mainstream discussion. So the commissioner has not, issued a statement. The governor, that you can call him, the kind of governor that wants to, be anything he's doing, he likes to visit the area, he likes to talk about it, but the governor has not said anything, formally, with respect to this new airport. He has not gone there, his media team has not gone there to show the Anambra the extent of work. It's just, most things that we have heard about this airport is just hearsay.
Okay. Now, Kingsley, looking at India Anambra and the current economic realities of its citizens, looking at the scale of preference, do you think this is what does it rank high up in the scale of the needs of Anambrarians as we speak? Because, it's very hard to wrap my head around it, because you said there's an existing airport and it's not even operating at full capacity, and then with all the needs and different projects, you have healthcare, you have schools, you have unemployment, that things that these billions could go into. Another airport seems to be priority. So could you help us make sense of it?
That's the problem, because it's something that you can't fathom. You can't really put your hand around it. And for the fact that the governor is silent about this project shows that inside him, he knows that this shouldn't be a priority for us. In the scale of preference, it's common sense. You can't buy something and buy it again, within a short, possible time. The airport we have was not built in the 1980s. It wasn't built in the 1940s. It was built and commissioned just 2021. And we are going into an airport project just 5 years, about 5 years after. And just because this government had less than 3 years, because we have zoning in Anambra, so power moved from north to south. So it's coming to central. So the governor, the current airport is in Anambra North, where the former governor, is from. Then currently, the governor is building one in his region. What the message is sending is that the next governor, which will come from Central, we have to build one in Anambra Central. So at the end of the day, Anambra State may just become an airport state.
I get your point now. I mean, if everyone is building airports very close to where they come from, we're going to have the state capital of airports. Maybe that's where Anambra will come from. But that's just by the way, and just an insinuation. It doesn't mean that that's exactly what's going to happen. But we do understand that the governor has said, listen, he wants to build one, and Anambarians are saying, no, you cannot. Let's work on the older one and so on. We're going to create an opportunity while you speak here with us. We'll create an opportunity for Honorable Law Mefor to actually join us and speak. Let's see if he's going to have a right of response to what you've actually mentioned. And if these claims are anyway true, then definitely he will need to speak to Nigerians and also Anambarians, explaining why it is very critical for another airport to be added to the one you already have. On this note, we want to say thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for shedding light on this story. It's a developing story. We've seen footage, we've seen videos. We're going to follow up very closely with it. Like I said, we're going to extend an invitation to a member of the government. But thank you for your time, and thank you for exposing this particular story. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting times, whether you like it or not, right there in Anambra. Then you start to wonder if infrastructure can actually topple healthcare, education, and the likes.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Anambra, they already have an existing airport. We're wondering what is the what use and value would it be? Because airports are capital intensive. I mean, even Lagos, we're looking at exorbitant prices of ticket prices, and then you have two in that small geographical area. So, but the people behind it, what do I know? I mean, he's a professor of economics, the governor, so he probably has more knowledge about. He has seen the economical benefits instead of driving from, Onitsha to Aba. I can fly. I believe I can fly just like R. Kelly. Anyway. This is where we wrap up conversation on this. We still have quite a lot to talk about, but let's tell you that medical experts are warning that delayed treatment and poor health-seeking behaviors are contributing to sudden collapse and preventable deaths. In Benue State, Benue residents say the rising cost of healthcare is making routine medical checkups increasingly unaffordable. News Central's Sewu Essay Anyo reports.
Life-threatening illnesses, including hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease, often develop without obvious symptoms until serious complications occur.
And there are many things that can cause sudden death, whether sudden cardiac death, stroke, heart attack. Several of these things can cause sudden death. Even though, yes, we say it's sudden, but sometimes there could be some warning signs that people might have ignored. Many times, people could have very markedly elevated blood pressure, and yet they don't have any symptom. And so it could not lead to this sudden death, causing whatever, whether it's sudden cardiac death, stroke, and any other thing that could occur.
Residents say the rising cost of consultations, laboratory tests, and medication has forced many people to delay seeking treatment until their conditions become critical.
One of the most challenge that people are having for this country is that they don't have money to take care of themselves. They don't have money to go for checkup. So to me, I think the government should do something about it. If you go for checkup, like all those government hospitals that they are not standard, the doctors operating there, they used to charge too much.
The reason why some people don't go to the hospital is because they don't have enough money for the treatment. My advice is that people should be going for checkup like 2 times in a month to make sure they are in good health.
Doctors say early diagnosis significantly improves treatment outcomes, but stress that knowing how to respond during a medical emergency can also save lives.
I want to advise that when we have such people, we should do everything to get them to the hospital, the nearest hospital, as quick as possible. That can help salvage the situation instead of crowding the person. But again, few other things that could be done is that we could then loosen, if they have tight-fitting clothing, we can loosen it to let them have some free flow of blood and all that. And I think those are few things that can be done at the site.
Health professionals are calling for greater public awareness of emergency response and routine medical screening, while residents urge governments to make healthcare more affordable so financial hardship does not prevent access to life-saving treatment. In Benue, for News Central, Sewu Anyo.
And we hope that that's your notice and your official reminder to go and do your annual checks. You haven't done them yet. And if you are suspecting anything, as much as you can, particularly for those who have HMOs, so please go ahead and get checked.
Okay, we'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we will be looking at the biggest stories making the rounds in the country. Do stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
The controversy surrounding allegation against Femi Gbajabiamila, the Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu, has continued to stir debate over transparency and accountability in government institutions. Adeniyi, who claimed to head the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC, alleged that the body operated with government backing and maintained links with public officials and foreign investors.
He further alleged that Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, received 400 million naira through intermediaries to facilitate approval for the council, demanded 48% of its proposed 27.4 billion naira funding, and later fell out with him after he refused to comply. Adeniyi also cited the PFIPC's alleged appearance in the 2026 budget alongside office facilities and banking structures as evidence of official recognition. The presidency has denied the allegations, insisting that the PFIPC does not exist within the federal government structure, that Adeniyi was never appointed to any such position. Presidential spokesman Bayo Ononuga described the claims as false and said the office of the Chief of Staff was among the first to alert security agencies to the group's activities. The presidency said the matter had been referred to the DSS and the police for investigation. We're now joined by Professor of Strategy and Development, Professor Anthony Killer joins us this morning. We're also looking forward to have another guest join us for this conversation. But this is a major conversation that must be looked into. And we thank you so much, Professor Killer, for joining us to dissect this one. I don't know what you made of this when you saw it. I mean, for us here in the studios, we wouldn't say we've been in shock. We'll just say that we have been traumatized by the back and forth story, trying to dissect what the truth really is. But let's get your thoughts, Professor Killer. What did you make of this story the moment you caught sight of it?
When I heard the story from people like you from the news, my first instinct and then reaction, because of social media, people reacting, my first instinct is our tendency to turn simple things into complicated things. I think these are very gross allegations, they're very grave allegations by his Prince Adeniyi Matthew. But we shouldn't make it so complicated. There can be no misunderstanding about what he's saying. They're either true or false. He has accused the Chief of Staff. I think there should be a third party that will look into these allegations and see who's fibbing or who's telling the truth. There's no misunderstanding in this, because he says money has exchanged hands. He talks about the existence of an agency, and he shows proof of that agency in the budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The presidency, through the spokesman, say, no, this is not true. Then we have news about the character of this man. I propose that we separate the two things, his character on one side and this specific allegation on another side. There are 3 or 4 questions here. Number one, is it true that this agency was at any point recognized by government? Is it true that at any point money parted hands? Is it true that the budget of the agency was requested for any use outside the agency thing? Is it true that this person has been functioning? Is it true or is it not true? And these are the things we need to answer. And I think we need to answer it swiftly, transparently, and in a convincing way. And there ought to be consequences for this kind of thing. Not because we want to punish anybody, but because if there's no consequence, this country is in trouble. There should be consequence if it is true. There should be consequence if it is false.
Okay, so when you say that there should be consequences, from what we know so far, who and what bodies should bear the consequences?
Well, you should start from the Chief of Staff directly, because he's the one called directly. We shouldn't be confused about this thing. You should start from Chief of Staff. Then we need to sort of do an auditing to see all the people that have handled these agencies, to see what role they played. We need to find out, as we say in auditing, is it negligence or is it outright fraud? How did the agency's name get into the paper? If the agency was not in the paper at all, then this is outright fraud, falsification of document. We need to see who's allocated office space. How did they obtain this? We need to see who's opened bank account. How did they get the mandate to open bank account? We need to look at all these things. There's a trail, but we shouldn't make it general. That's the joy of auditing. You need to be specific about who you're auditing. This man should be called and say, let us get a list of everybody you've dealt with or you are alleged to have dealt with, and let us see who allowed you pass through the net. If it is not true, what you're saying. If it is true, then we have to have pick up everybody involved in it. We need to just step back. Everything it has, see who approved it, who allowed it to come to life. And we need to determine at every point if we're dealing with negligence, incompetence, or fraud and collusion.
No, Professor Killer, the official government response that we've gotten from Mr. Bayonanuga is that, this is an impostor, is a fraudulent individual, but it still leaves many questions unanswered. Like you rightly mentioned, how did this make its way to the budget? And also issue of the federal secretariat getting an office space there. It's not a plaza, it's not a co-working space. Not any individual can work in there. And even opening a digital account for this online financial services, you still need to undergo, for private citizens, you need to undergo some level of KYC. They need to know that you're an existing individual, let alone the Central Bank of Nigeria. So from what we deduce, from what the government is saying, is that, okay, it shows multiple failures, oversight failures of our institutions. How worrying is this, or should this be for ordinary Nigerians?
Well, three things. Number one, what the government said is insufficient. Is that it leaves out a lot of issues that the man raised in this specific space. Generally speaking, when you come to not politics, or allegations of fraud, collusion, corruption, and bribery, it is not enough for anybody to just say. The matter needs to be investigated and allegations need to be cleared. That's the right procedure. Number three is that we shouldn't just think it's something that should be just said and we move on to the next thing. No, this kind of thing damages the fabric of our institution. If it is true, then those who committed this crime need to be punished. If it is not true, we need to make an example of this man. That you don't go wake up, lying against the government and against the chief of staff. This is not politics. This is allegations, and these are very serious allegations. Because we need to look at it in terms of deterring other people from doing it tomorrow. Then today, we need to look at it in terms of the damage it's doing to Nigeria. If you were sitting, in Washington, London, no, let's not do Johannesburg. I'm upset with those one for now. Somewhere else, Harare or Kinshasa, or you're in Kingston, Jamaica, and you're saying to yourself, I'm going to invest in Nigeria. I'm going to deal with Nigeria. And you're getting this kind of news. Your instinct will be, can I trust them? So, these are very damaging things, both for the country and beyond the shores of the country. I'm thinking about people like myself who do joint ventures and internationalization of businesses. And you go to the table and you're telling them you have an agreement and they're looking at you thinking, is it real? How offensive is that, But we need to put ourselves in a position where we're not offendable, where people cannot insult us. The way to do that is to earn trust, is to earn confidence, is to let people know that our papers matter, our government think before it talks, and people don't go accusing our government of anything, and those in government do not do reckless things. We need to clarify that for ourselves and the rest of the world, because the world is watching.
Okay. What do you have to say about the duration, the time it took for this story to come out? The office we hear had been in existence since 2024, if my memory serves me right.
Well, and then to him.
Yes. And then from October 15, October 10 in particular, we did see him host a lot of foreign ambassadors. And not just that, then the claim started. And then there was an event. I don't know if you saw that video where he held not just one event, multiple events, talking about investment, mentioning the president's name. There's also a picture of him congratulating the president. All of these things, is it possible? I mean, I know you're an author, you read books, you know which one is fictitious and which one isn't. Is it possible that one could actually succeed in doing all of these things without being caught for this long?
I mean, multiple
Well,
government
really,
agencies.
Yeah.
No, wait, you can't rule it out. There's both ways, you know. When it comes to crime, people do incredible things, you know. People do amazing things. I've seen somebody write and submit to me a paper where they've plagiarized me without quoting me.
Wow.
You know, and I'm this or that. People do those kind of things. But I've seen people copy AI and just post it there, copy Wikipedia, and want to get it past me. It's a matter of competence. You know, the mind of fantasies of people can work a lot, and people can do reckless things. But you shouldn't look at it both sides. We shouldn't assume. What we need to say is that we need to play the if and then game. If it is A, then there should be a B. If it is C, then there should be a D. If this man is lying, then we need to make an example of him, but we need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the man is a liar, is a con artist. If what he's saying is true, then we need to make example of those involved. Either they are colluding and they are part of it and they are defrauding, or they're incompetent and they were negligent. It's a matter of indolence. Whichever way, we need to call it out and prove it. I'm looking at the video.
Yeah, I just want to. I want to add to what you've said. You said it's an if he's lying, he should be made an example of, which we totally agree with you. But if he's telling the truth, then the people responsible should be punished. But to the extent of the information that we have publicly, if there was a budgetary allocation, is that not already indicative of some level of carelessness? Because how did his agency?
That certified website. .gov.ng domain name.
Who certifies the website? I tried to get a website before. They told me no, only government can get it. I have a personal experience of trying to get a website. They said, oh no, it's a government website. So it's not that easy to get it. So we need to go and see who gave it to him and what process was followed. So there are two sides to this thing. From the private individual side, this Prince Adeniyi man, he's either a con-star and a liar, and they need to look at if that is what he is. From the government side, they are either negligent or colluding. They are neither corrupt or part of the problem. Whichever way, we just need to sit down very calmly and very swiftly, and in a very transparent and convincing way, we need to bring it out. That's the way we need to look at it.
Who would watch the Watchmen? Who will do this investigation? Because you have allegations of collusion at senior government levels. You even have multiple institutions that have been indicted here. So how do we trust ordinary Nigerians who have a serious trust deficit against the government to carry out a thorough investigation and get into the root of this matter?
Well, there are two arms of this. There's a responsibility, there's a task that needs to be done. And there are two levels to this task. The government itself needs to go beyond reasonable doubt that, that they're investigating this matter. I think the presidency needs to call for investigation. An inquiry is what the government does. An investigation is what the security forces do. I wonder why they're calling DSA into this matter. The police and other investigating body should be doing this. Then the media should not let this go. We need to use the Freedom of Information Act to follow it. This is a good time for investigative journalism. And I think also the other societies in the country, non-government organizations, they need to be interested to follow this thing through so we can put to rest. This is the time for the opposition as well to stand up to it and say, we need to know what's going on here. The parliament needs to be heard on this. There's a lot of people that can play a crucial role. The key thing is that we must all agree that this thing should not die, should not be allowed to, just die natural death. It needs to be followed to the legal, logical, and informative, historic consequence.
Why have we also not seen resignations? Because if this happened in the UK, for example, and other places, several heads will be rolling by now, and individuals responsible for the institutional failure at one point or the other, multiple levels, would have fallen on their sword. Why are we not seeing this, and why is it not generating enough debate as it should. I mean, it's generating debate, but there are simply no consequences.
Well, there are no consequences yet. We have to hope that consequences will come later. There's something peculiar about the UK you mentioned. Parliamentary system, and that is why some of us like the parliamentary system. Parliamentary system are more responsive. Something happens, people are asked to move aside. Presidential system is a bit stronger, it's a bit stiffer, and less flexible and less adaptable to things. But that said, we should also be careful to ask people to resign jobs because of allegation. I think it should be investigation. Perhaps their boss might want, if I were president of Nigeria, I would suspend the chief of staff. That's the thing, to say, while this thing is going on, can you step aside so that you're not causing any trouble in this? So that you don't corrupt it, you don't intrude. That's a very important thing that we should think of. But I think for now, it is investigation. The reason why the investigation should be swift and transparent is that we must ensure that the investigation is done in a timely manner so that people like you will not be there saying, how come there is no consequence? That's the whole point of the timeliness of it.
Okay. I have just when this entire situation started, Prince himself decided to call for a press conference. I want you to watch the video, and I'd like you to listen attentively to some of the things he said. They're very critical, and I'd like your reaction to it. But let's watch the footage first.
To the president has meritoriously served for good 20 years and rose from minority leader, majority leader, and then speaker for good 4 years. I mean, he rose to be the number 4 citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the question becomes unaffordable. At what point in the process did reference to non-existent agency allegedly enter the official record? And if that are indeed present in an official documentation, what that implies about the integrity of the process that produced and approved those documents. For President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to assent his signature to a budget that includes a non-existent agency according to his chief of staff is an embarrassment to this advocating government. My distinguished media practitioner, when the question persists regarding administrative process, budget lines, and institutional communication allegedly connected to this agency, if it doesn't exist. The same acclaimed non-existent agency have domiciliary, pounds, and treasury single account, all domiciled in the central bank of Nigeria. So what Chief of Staff is telling Nigerians is that the CBN governor, with his 4 deputies, 16 capable directors, and over 5,300 staffs are clueless not to have dictated a fraudulent document for opening an account.
A lot of indictments flying in the air there. First of all, he talked about the budget allocation, the annual the fiscal budget, how come that office was able to get there. He also, in a way, indicted the president because his signature was on that document as well before he took it to the National Assembly. And then the Central Bank of Nigeria, the 16 directors and all who worked there. What's your take on this?
Well, if you look at it, you think, wow, this man is making a little point. But hence the thing, if you're a student of law or an investigator, you're used to stepping back and say, well, it doesn't matter what people say. Let's look at the facts. It's not enough to say. You need to prove it. He's alleging. He needs to prove it. In fairness to him, he has thrown a lot of elements there, exhibits, as it were, to support his claim. I think those exhibits need to be verified. And those who are accused need to be confronted with it. They need to say, Mr. President, is it true you signed this paper? Or who gave you this paper to sign? How did the signature get there? How did the name of the agency get to the budget document? How did it get offices? This question needs to be answered. It's as simple as that. It's a very embarrassing thing. It is, one must be said. It must be said, but we just need to find out how we got ourselves in this situation. That's all. The man, I look at him, he sounds very passionate, very emotional, quite angry there. So you can't really judge his gravitas from this speech, but what he's saying have a lot of weight. It doesn't look like somebody who would be a good ambassador for international relations from Nigeria from the way he speaks. But then again, there's a lot of people who have been appointed to strange positions in Nigeria. So you really, my point is, not to throw him down or throw him off, My point is, you can't judge from just looking at it. We have our instincts, and a lot of people have made judgments based on instinct. But the institutional response should be a swift, open, transparent, convincing investigation and inquiry. And I want to be clear, those two things are not the same. So we must do both and then get to the truth of the matter.
Okay, so you have said, you've given the different best case and worst case scenario, and if he's found guilty or if he's found innocent, and that actions should be taken. But from what you know about Nigeria's investigative prowess, from the evidence, of previous character evidence, what are your expectations?
Well, my expectations, well, I don't have expectations. I have plans in life. Because when you predict, you might be wrong or you might be right. You can judge on the path. I like to make things happen. This what we're dealing with, I would make a proposal to you. Let us call it, I don't know, either the Promotion Council Gate or the Gbajabiamila Gate. Yeah. And let us agree with News Central that we come and revisit it every week to see where we are with the issue. That way we force government to do something about it. That is the way I like to think. I don't like to predict or second guess people. I like to think what I can do about it, and I like to propose what we ought to be doing about it. I think we need to convince ourselves that this thing should not die a natural, unremarkable death. It should have a logical conclusion, a legal, historical conclusion, and to do that, let us commit to making sure that nobody gets away with it.
And in doing that, with these serious allegations involving public funds, security claims, and alleged intermediaries now in the public domain, what institutions would ordinarily have jurisdiction to carry out due diligence on this?
Well, there are quite a few. The police, the EFCC, the ICPC, Transparency International is not a government agency, but the institution, the press, the Union of Journalists, the Guild of Editors, the media in general, the judiciary where they can, although they are waiting to be called upon, the Attorney General of the Federation. There's a very long list, ladies and gentlemen. There's a long list of people. We do not have shortage of people who should have an interest, whose duty should be to be looking at this. And I think we need to call of them. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, should be looking into it. The Trade Council should be looking at it. There's a lot of people that should be looking at this. Whoever is in charge of the due diligence office should be looking at it. Heads of department in charge of allocating offices, in charge of allocating websites, in charge of giving letters to open bank accounts, the CBN, in charge of, they said the man has official cars, in charge of allocating official cars. All these people should be looking at their office and be waiting to be called to answer questions soon, so they should be preparing their answers. There's a long list of people who should be looking at this. And we the people as well.
Okay. My final question to you would be, if you had just maybe 5 minutes to advise the presidency, what would your advice be? What would you tell them to do now? Because, like they say, tick says the clock, time is running out, and this story...
The international press will jump on this very soon.
And the story is generating a lot online. What would you advise the presidency does or do right now?
But I think there's two things. The presidency needs to admit that it's an embarrassing situation, that the presidency does not condone this kind of behavior, and the presidency would open investigations and would totally collaborate with any investigation that is going on to uncover the truth. The presidency should make it known to the world that they're interested in the truth of this matter and that they will leave every stone unturned. Even if the presidency think their people, the chief of staff and others around them, even if they think they're innocent, they should understand that they have a duty to prove that innocence. And they should have a duty to prosecute whoever is lying, defrauding, or stealing, or looting, or corrupting in this case.
So what can we do to prevent this sort of situation in the future? Because this is quite... this is unprecedented. I mean, the only thing that ranks on this scale is when a Nigerian defrauded a Brazilian bank and sold them a fictitious airport. So this is looking on that level. And then you also have multiple institutional failures as a result. So How do we stop this sort of situation from repeating itself? Because it does have effects, like you rightly said, on investor confidence and is, quite frankly, very embarrassing for the nation. I mean, the South Africans are laughing and saying, you see, look at what we said about Nigerians.
Oh, the South Africans will shut up. They're just barbarians. Wow. The issue we need to deal with lies, the solution lies in the problem. The solution is we should show that we can deal with this thing by investigating it and bringing to books whoever is guilty. We should show that we embrace the truth, and nobody is too big to be touched when matters like this happen. You know, whether you've done it before or not, you know, bad luck. And the way to prevent it from happening in the future is by creating a precedent. When this happens, we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. It's as simple as that. We need to show the world that we're neither too corrupt to deal with this, nor too incompetent to deal with it. It's just two things, you know, transparency and competence, and they go together. It's not as difficult as we're making it. We can deal with it. We just need to do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Killer, for joining us.
We do appreciate your insights, and we'll take your advice and stay on it.
We're staying on it.
Oh, yeah.
We're staying on it.
That's it.
Yeah, we're staying on it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. All right.
Right. I still want to also take a few comments. Comments we didn't take earlier regarding the story of what is now referred to as Gbajagate. Osa says the government has continued to fail Nigeria. The criminality is glaring every single day. Lilian Oloha says, thank you, Uncle Akintemi and his co-travelers at News Central, my TV, for your sound and unbiased investigative journalism. Kudos to you all. I owe you a lot. Thank you very much, Lilian, for that kind comment. OA says, exactly my point. He fooled everyone. Does Bayo Onanuga think we are fools? This is a fraud scheme complicit by government officials. What a shame. And we call ourselves giant of Africa. Still in the YouTube comment section, we can see here, Oketa Isaac says, honestly, this Adeyemi guy is smart and audacious. No need prosecuting him. He's simply a genius. And my candid advice is, how do we transform this smartness into something useful? It's how you say there's no need to prosecute him.
It's not fun.
He's made allegations. And he should be...
The courts will decide.
And the truth is, regardless of how it turns, Adeyemi's hand at this point is not clean. Because if you are alleging that you paid bribe, that's already an indictment on his own part. Nigerians are not fools, Femi Olagunju says. The agency in question exists. We want the presidency and the Senate to speak. No agency in Nigeria can operate without the approval of the presidency and the Senate. Frank Obute says, Aso Rock will explain Taya. Kelvin Honda says, the world will start seeing Nigeria as the capital of fraud. Can you now blame your old boys? You obviously cannot desperate the head of the fish from the main rotten body. Bobby James says, Nigeria is not a scam country. Well, these are some of the comments.
If you look at the absolute figures, that's what we also need to learn to do, not to amplify this wrong and negative comments about Nigeria. Because if you look at absolute numbers with regards to fraud and the scale of it, you look at a Benny Madoff, for example, the sort of fraud that Nigerians have been caught doing, it's not comparable, and we're not a fraudulent nation. We're not a nation of scammers.
We are not a nation of scammers.
I just also want to add that in that statement you made, when people expose or push these narratives, is because those at the top have refused to do something.
Absolutely.
If, as we speak today, we're still waiting.
And they follow Professor Killer's advice.
Exactly. By now, I mean, the comments are there, they're apt. People are saying by now the chief of staff should have just been told to leave office first, go and wait. You know, just wait, let's investigate this. And there's nothing wrong if that is done. If you are innocent, it's going to be proven, right? Is that not so?
Yeah.
The guilt, or better still, the need to prove who's innocent doesn't only fall on the part of the one who is being accused. The one who's also the accuser should actually be checked. So all aspects, everyone involved, each officer, as we just said, should be looked into. I believe, and I always use this analogy, and I'm still going to say it again as we wrap this part up. If a father has 5 sons, and the first son steals meat in the pot, the second one says, the other say, oh, daddy didn't do anything. Daddy just said, don't do it again. The other 2 will go, they will steal more meat. And then the last born will say, oh, nothing happened to my 4 brothers. He's going to go and carry the full pot. and go away. And the father will keep saying, oh, you people should stop, don't do that. But if at the first instance, the first child who stole the meat, the father carried out very punitive measures and dealt with him immediately as a sign and as a proof to the others would dare not try it. So it's actually a case of handling the issue exactly on time and right now. That's what I think. That's what I believe. But anyway, we'll look into this story. You can be rest assured that News Central will decide to follow this hashtag Gbajagate to its end. And that's what we're going to do. But we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, breakfast headlines is up next, and then the front pages of the newspapers. The phone lines will be open. Feel free to call us and let us know what you think about the stories. We'll be right back.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aborola. We start with politics. The Turkey-led faction of the People's Democratic Party in Plateau State has presented certificates of return to candidates who emerged victorious in the party's primary elections. Speaking at the party's secretariat in Jos State, Chairman Raymond Dabo urged members and supporters to shun character assassination and focus instead on issue-based campaigns ahead of the elections. The party's governorship candidate, Sunday Biggs, also called on INEC to comply with the judgments of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court by recognizing the Turkey-led PDP, warning that failure to do so would create uncertainty in the state's political process.
Now that you are going to be our candidates, I'm urging you that the campaign should be issue-based. Don't assassinate anybody's character. We shall restrain ourselves, even under provocation, from time to time. You are going to have the support of the party. You are going to have the support of the people of Plateau State. And indeed, we are going to have the support of our presidential candidate, Ebele Jonathan.
Where INEC is supposed to respect and implement the decisions of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. Immediately that is done, PDP will come back stronger than ever before. Definitely, there's no way they can refuse that order. We are presently in court to obtain an order of mandamus compelling them to act. And definitely, by the grace of God, INEC as a federal institution, they must respect the laws of the land. If they don't do that, perhaps it's a recipe for anarchy.
A group known as the New Age Transformative Leadership for Good Governance has raised concerns over the outcome of the All Progressives Congress senatorial primary election in Oyo North, alleging that the authentic winner of the party's electoral process, Benga Debola, has been replaced on the final list of flag bearers by the party. The group warned that the decision will have political consequences for the APC in the state if not reversed, and called on political parties to uphold internal party democracy.
Ratifying the candidature of Mrs. Hannah Oguneson for the Oyo North Senate is a misstep. It is a political self-sabotage, and such can hand over the opposition victory, and it becomes a landmine for the APC. This is not an attack on the party. This is a warning. Proceeding with this ticket will have their consequences, and those consequences will be swift and rife.
Primaries across all the political parties. To be precise, I might say the APC. It appears as if the will of the people has been truncated. What is democracy without respecting the will of the majority? If one person, one individual anywhere, no matter how highly placed he or she is, will determine the fate of a local government, of a constituency, of a state, you don't have a democracy.
The federal government has pledged immediate humanitarian assistance in a lasting solution to the persistent gas seepage affecting Bilie community in Dagama local government area of Rivers State. A delegation led by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Ekperepe, visited the affected community alongside officials of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and representatives of oil and gas companies. The visit follows a meeting with the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, amidst growing concerns over the impact of gas seepage on residents' health and livelihoods. Reports indicate that underground sources have been contaminated, prompting renewed calls for urgent environmental intervention and long-term remediation efforts. Let's now head to South Africa. Ghana has accused the country of killing its national during heightened anti-migrant tensions, while Ghana said Bashiru Isaac was killed in Cape Town during demonstrations. South Africa has rejected the claim, saying no deaths were recorded during the protest and the incident was not linked to the demonstrations. South African authorities described Ghana's account as inaccurate and unsupported by available evidence. The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has claimed more than 400 lives as health authorities battle the continued spread of the deadly virus. The country's National Institute for Public Health says 438 people have died from 1,406 confirmed cases since the outbreak was declared on May 15th, representing a fatality rate of just over 31%. The outbreak remains centered in the northeastern Ituri province, but has now reached the major city of Kisangani, nearly 600 kilometers away, raising concerns of wider transmission. Neighboring Uganda has also reported infections, prompting intensified surveillance as health officials race to contain the outbreak and expand access to treatment. And that's all on Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Bora. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast Central. Time for the front pages of the newspapers. And joining us to analyze the front pages this morning is, of course, the one and only. He doesn't like us calling him veteran, but like we told him, he has no choice. It's our platform. Well, we have international journalist of repute, Mr. Habib Aruna joins us this morning. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
I'm so happy.
You came at the right time.
So happy.
Because there's a story that is growing. But let's go straight to the papers. We don't want to waste time. You can call in right away. Let's ensure that we have the phone line right there on the screen, the phone number. Call us. Let us know your thoughts on some of the very interesting stories.
Let's start with that story on the paper that has it as a big story. Nigerian Tribune has it as a big story. Observer Times has it as a big story.
All right.
The big story on Nigerian Tribune, Knox Trail Ghost Presidential Council. Before we see here ghost workers in civil service. Now it's Ghost Presidential Council. Atiku Dalong.
Council.
CSO raised question.
No, unknown council.
Agency allocated 1.3 billion naira in 2026 budget. My agency is not a ghost body. I'm ready for trial. Adeniyi insists. Let's go straight to that story. I'll start with that. Let's get a reaction. Welcome back. Now the stage is set to discuss Gbajagate, or the Ghost Presidential Council, and our guest is
Unknown Presidential Council.
It's still ghost now. It's like ghost workers, so it's Ghost Presidential.
We would rather use unknown, since they associate unknown with something that is
unknown gunman.
Unknown.
Okay, Unknown Presidential Council.
Unknown soldier during Fela's time.
Let's have your thoughts, Mr. Aruna.
This kind of story, in the front burner, it had become topic A in the polity. To not die down. The media will not allow it to die down. The social media, an effective force, public space now will not allow it to die down. You see, in a Senate climb, there are institutions that are independent of the government that safeguard these things. In Senate climbs, the police, some critical agencies, the National Assembly, they are independent of the executive. With this kind of scenario, it's difficult for this kind of thing to happen. But in an Akpabio-controlled National Assembly, you have a public account, you have a committee, standing committee, that is appropriation. How did it escape their lenses? The person that was also involved, the third person, as alleged by this conman,
the middleman,
the
facilitator,
died just like that. So I think we should look at what Atiku is saying. And rightly too, Atiku is an opposition leader. You have a right to let Nigeria know what is going on. That the government of the day is not doing the right thing. That there is going to be there are cover-ups. All of a sudden, you have a guy you said this guy is a con. He's telling the whole world that he has an office, the presidency, the secretariat, for 2 years. He's saying that he has been collecting money. They've been financing his office. This man, we saw him with pictures with even the FCC.
Yeah, we have those. We
saw him pictures with deputy speaker of the House of Reps, with series of diplomats
and senior military officers.
So it just shows that this man is not an ordinary person. And if you say he's a con man, who is he acting for? It's just one of the things that is going on. In Abuja, there are many middlemen who are billionaires, doing nothing, just siphoning government money, our commonwealth. Now, in a normal democracy, the National Assembly, the legislature, controls the purse. No money is spent without the approval of the National Assembly. And that is why they have what is called Committee on Appropriation and Public Account. You appropriate, they give account. So you cannot spend any money. So how did the money, how did 1.8 billion? 1.3 billion entered the budget?
Of a fictitious agency.
Who defended it? At least if you put something in the budget, to be defended, a committee to defend it, who defended it? So what? And another point is that the guy that died, how did he die?
They said he died in a fire.
I was thinking, the federal government, but the presidency will come out with a statement saying that yes, we have seen what is going on, we have observed it. Then we want the relevant agencies to investigate, not just in a hurry exonerating the chief of staff. That is not how democracy works. That is not accountability. Public funds is involved here. Nigeria demand accountability. They want to know what happened. You see, the statement by the president left many questions unanswered.
But in fairness to the presidency, they did say that the chief of staff had made reports earlier to different agencies saying that a petition that they should look into the character of this Mr. Prince Adeniyi.
Beyond the messenger, the message involved in all this racket should be investigated thoroughly.
Okay.
I personally don't trust the National Assembly to do this because the National Assembly are food that they can be trusted.
Besides, they're the ones, you cannot be a judge in your own cause. You can't be investigating.
Absolutely. And what people are saying, like Falana is saying, is that the FCC mandated, the police mandated to probe this matter.
All right.
Let's get the truth of what really happened.
Okay, let's quickly take this call. Uche is calling from Abia. Good morning, Uche. Thanks for calling. Let's get your thoughts.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. This issue we are discussing, I think Mr. President went to one of the, foreign countries and told them that there is no corruption in his administration. He has eliminated corruption. Bayo Ononuga will, explain Taya. The same words Mr. President used that led Omo is suffering from the DSS hand. Even from the court, he went to prison because of that word. It's a pity. Ononuga will explain Taya. Baja will explain Taya. God bless you people.
God bless you, Uche. Thank you for your comments. We'll go on a very quick break. We'll return from this break and continue the conversation this morning, taking your comments on YouTube as well as your phone calls. So please stay with us. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at the front pages of the papers. We're looking at the Nigerian Tribune. Still on the front page, FS static despite global crude oil price decline. We'll talk about that in a moment. Court rejects El Rufai's fresh bail bid over disputed medical report. Security agencies foil another breach at NIPS. New blood test spots more dangerous prostate cancers than PSA, according to a study. I hope the gentlemen on this set are please getting these tests checked. It's very important. APC unveils Ali Adedeji as Oyo governorship deputy candidate in 2027. NADDC Director General, Finance Minister meet, push for fiscal incentives for Nigeria's automotive EV growth.
NADDC.
DG. Is it an original one?
We need to start asking those questions.
What is it, DG? You need to be,
is
careful.
Legal parastatal.
Or is it unknown?
Is it an unknown agency?
Okay. Uncertainty looms as 4% green tax surcharge replaces 10% duty slash. Conflict, funding shortfalls push northern Nigeria hunger crisis to worst level, according to UN agency. Court affirms David Mark-led ADC leadership. It's victory for constitutional democracy and rule of law, article says. Let's start with the global crude oil price decline and the fact that it's not yet reflected in Nigeria. Marketers have threatened...
The increase is always instantly reflected.
Exactly, and marketers have threatened that, we hear that they've threatened that the government tries to... do price control, then they will...
And it's not just that. Aviation fuel too, because airfares are static.
I don't think the government is doing price control.
No, they are preempting the government.
What the Minister of State said on Monday, during a stakeholder meeting, was that now that there's no longer tension, war in the Middle East between Iran and the US, by extension, Israel, that the price of crude oil is going down all over the world. And that it should reflect in the pumping of oil in Nigeria. That's what they say. And the marketers who are very, who are unmindful of our suffering, came out and said they should not be gagged, they should not be controlled. And if they try it,
they say they want to sell the old stock.
Government has a duty. There are many ways of doing it. What we've seen is that the trend is that as soon as Dangote lowers his own price, it will percolate across the country. So let's put pressure on Dangote.
He has reduced by 15 naira.
But I've said it many times that at the end of the day, Dangote will be controlling the life of Nigeria.
Then they will come and start fighting him.
I'm telling you. So I think the government has a duty to continue to let them know that the price should be a reflection on what is going on at the work market.
We spoke. I think we spoke to an analyst.
So the story here is on airfare.
Yes.
And
it's also the same.
It's not going to by now should be reduced.
But let's take
what is going on at the world market.
Let's take this call from Salisu, who's joining us from Kano. Good morning, Salisu. Go ahead and make your contribution, please. Oh dear, we lost Salisu. So we had a marketer that said they have to sell their old stock. You can't just tell them to reflect the new prices immediately. Is that a valid argument?
Don't make any sense to me, and it's not logical. However, if there's a renewal of hostilities in the Middle East, they will increase the price.
They will not wait for that one that is low to finish.
I think these guys are not friends of Nigerians. They are just businessmen who are desperate to make money.
And Nigerian government should also...
And the government has a duty, as I said, to make sure they are regulated somehow.
We also need refineries working so that the Nigerian government can also force...
It's not easy to buy fuel in Nigeria now. It's even worse elsewhere, as in Lagos. So we should continue to insist that they should do the right thing.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the ADC. And if you believe that the woes of the ADC are over, and that they'll be able to present a united front. Top right corner of the paper, court affirms David Mark-led ADC leadership.
Yes, I will hope, because going by the reaction of David Mark, the chairman of the party, and Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate, I will hope that this should put a final seal on these lingering legal issues, running the party. But there are still other issues. For example, the former...
Apologies, Salisu from Kano is back. He's called back. Go ahead and talk to us, Mr. Salisu.
Good morning, panelists.
Good morning.
Yeah, please, I just want to speak briefly on two issues concerning the, what they call it, the ghost or whatever. I think there is too much for the presidency and for the ruler and the government to explain to Nigerians, because the damning revelations that we are seeing that's flying all over the internet, quite so damning. I mean, there's so much investigation that needed to be done. Investigation, because you can't be a judge in your own case. When you are a judge in your own case, you know what happened. So, secondly, concerning Dangote, from what is happening now shows that the cabal or the cartel that is running the Nigerian petroleum industry, it is now letting us understand now that that is the reason they wanted to take away Dangote, so that they can be able to control the life of Nigerians the way they want. If Dangote, they thought that Dangote could be a game changer, like when Dangote lowers his prices, it trickles down to them. So Dangote is now like a spoiler. That was the beginning. They foresaw that this guy is going to be a spoiler in our business. That was why they wanted. But thank God that the voice of reasoning prevailed. Thank God Dangote is there. So like one of your visitors said, we should be much pressure on Dangote. Thank God is now like the marksman that everybody is looking on to for Nigerians to have a better life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our next paper. You were saying something
No, I was saying that just to conclude the issue, the ADC matter, I think this will put an end to these lingering legal issues they've been having. Let them organize themselves as an opposition party and prepare for next year.
Okay. Let's move on to our next paper now. I'm going to run through two papers back to back. We've done Nigerian Tribune. Let's go to the Observer's Times. Let's do that. Observer's Times says court upholds David Mark-led leadership of ADC, dismisses Abejide's suit with fines of 14 million naira. Okay. Atiku appoints Kenneth Okonkwo as spokesperson.
That is the one that I believe is still coming.
Alleged fake presidential DG says Gbajabiamila knew of his appointment, says the matter is before the court and that he will clear his name. Military airstrikes kill scores of terrorists in Niger State. Let's quickly see if we have another one.
That's good news.
2027 will be coronation for Tinubu, not election, Keyamo says. Versus Keyamo says.
What do you expect?
So I'm looking for that story. I can't see
Keyamo is an appointee of the president.
Yes. What story?
He's a minister. So what do you expect him to say?
Well, that's from the other side.
It's a boss re-election. So
What do you make
one
of
issue?
What do you make of Nollywood veteran
Okonkwo.
politician Kenneth Okonkwo's appointment?
I think it's
because in the last election cycle, he was very vocal supporter of one of the candidates. And 4 years later, can your entire philosophy and ideology and everything you stand for change within a 4-year cycle?
Before you respond, I need to read his acceptance speech. He says, I give God all the glory to be appointed by His Excellency Atiku Abubakar as his spokesperson. I thank His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar for the immense confidence reposed in me. He went on to describe the appointment as evidence of Atiku's leadership style, saying, rather than pick offense against any of his associates for expressing genuine reservations of any action taken, His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar always opts for dialogue and compromise that will engender solution to problems. You may proceed.
But to me, I don't think it's a right decision by Atiku Abubakar, who I think is an experienced politician and very pragmatic, for that matter. And you see, Okonkwo is a very controversial figure among the obedience and among people in the Southeast. Many people in the Southeast, they see him as someone that came to stab Obi, at the back. And in politics, we have to be very careful in taking some sensitive decisions. This, I think, will not go well with many people in the Southeast who see him as a betrayer, and many people in the ever vibrant obedience group in the social media. So I don't think it's the right decision to do. The vice president has enough people.
You think he'll be more polarizing?
Absolutely, that's the right word. Thank you for borrowing me that word. Zagbenga, you know. So I don't think it's something that was done in circumcision. Man was almost circumspect taking that decision. He has better people on ground that can do it for him. That Polybe,
exactly,
and the other guy who have been doing a good job. This appointment is needless. I don't think it's necessary at this time. I think that it's polarizing, and many people will not be happy with it. That's my personal opinion.
When you mentioned Paul Ibe, I said, okay, because I was wondering, there was a time where his name was coming up based on the fact that Kenneth Okonkwo was actually against former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Yes. But let's.
But these days we have politicians with very good forgiving spirit. I mean, look at the ambassador, His Excellency Nigeria's ambassador to Mexico.
Yeah.
What did he not say in the past? But look at him today.
What about Daniel Boala as well?
And also Mr. Femi Kayode. Quite a lot of them.
Anointing flows from the head. The presidency is very forgiving.
Yeah, I think.
But if you try and, for young upcoming politicians, if you go and abuse people now, it doesn't mean it will always work for you.
Anyway.
So
all right.
Respect is key.
Respect is reciprocal. Are we done with the Observer
Yes,
Times?
we're done. We're done with that. Let's move to another paper. Niger State, 30 killed in fresh communal clash. Sorry, I'm looking at Al Jazeera. Let's talk OB to Nigerians. Don't lose faith in the electoral process. At the top, ADC Hill's court judgment recognizing Mark's leadership. And Dangote Cement pays 3.3 trillion naira dividends in 15 years. But there's another one here. Customs generated 3.35 trillion naira in 5 months, the spokesperson says.
What's that?
Customs generated 3.35 trillion naira in 5 months.
And the government has also recently reduced the import duties
on
cars.
Yeah,
foreign and
that is commendable.
Yes.
Because to make people
who can buy cars now.
Yes, to afford it.
But will it, just like the marketers, with the car dealers, will it reflect?
They said it will not. So I was talking to a car president. No, I spoke to one.
Maybe they will remove 100K from 5.6 million.
Definitely reflect.
They said the ones they have to sell them off that they had paid those duties for those cars.
That one is also there.
Well, that's another point. But this morning, customs people are in and out. Where's the money going to? Don't forget that the man tenure was renewed, extended by 6 months. Maybe they want to show Nigerians that the man is working.
And in 5 months, he has already raised 3 trillion. No?
So we want to know how this money is managed.
So why are we borrowing if you can raise that?
I want to hope.
There was a huge shortfall
I hope that
last year.
Men in customs, you know, that are not making the money to get to the real it's supposed to be. I hope there are no middlemen in customs. You know. And I hope people involved, the legislature, you know, are looking at the books.
It would also be nice for the government to extend that gesture towards renewable energy, solar, because even I know they will try to protect the Nigerian industry, but we're not there yet. Batteries, solar panels, accessories, so that heat will not kill people. And they have alternative energy sources to power, especially for SMEs.
Story in Al Jazeera.
Yes, which one?
XCP, Alobi.
You know, Alobi is a popular figure in Abuja.
Yes, he is.
He was the former CP of Abuja, and very popular figure. His words, you know.
He's joined us here a couple of times.
So coming out to support state police, I think it's commendable. We should listen to what he's saying. He has the experience. He has his own.
I hope state police will not have roadblock everywhere.
Supporting it.
Roadblocks.
Are you in support of state police as well?
Personally, yes. You know, you see, in any federal system, federal systems are defined by laws. Evidences argued that federalism means legalism. In other words, you must have a federal system backed by law. It is the law that will define the functions of those in that federal state. It must be a written law, very explicit. You know, that's what evidence argued. That's what he said. So when we have a federal system like Nigeria, cannot have unitary, centralized police.
Or can we fund it? And before you
absolutely, already, Olive, it is the state that is funding the police.
Okay, let me read something.
It is the state funding the police.
Concerning what the United Nations and the International Association of Chiefs of Police reference a benchmark of about 300 police officers per 100,000 residents, equivalent of one officer to 333 people. Now, applying this benchmark to a state with a population of, let's say, 5 million residents will require approximately 15,000 police officers to provide adequate police backing. And so what that means is, from a lot of the calculations that have been done, many argue that it will cost roughly about 120 billion to establish state police in the states in Nigeria. So the question is, can the states really fund it?
Fine question. You see, you cannot get there in a day, in a jiffy. It's a process. It's a just like democracy. It's a destination. It's a journey. You just take that step. Take another step. We need to perfect it. And that is why I'm happy that there is a strong framework, the constitutional framework, to prevent the abuse of state police by these rapacious and capricious and parasitic governors. That is what they are doing. So they should not be allowed. The laws are there. So if they are taking the wrong step, people should go to court. The constitution is very clear.
Yeah, but they have immunity. They have immunity.
Pardon?
The governors
No. You cannot prevent them from being abused. They don't necessarily mean that they will jail the government by so doing. No, but if you prevent them, that this step you are taking is wrong. So I think it's the best to.
Or you can take the states to court. Maybe not the governor in
state police supposes community policing. You know, you cannot bring somebody from Adamawa, come to my village in Auchi, to come and be our DPO. You cannot work. You need someone from that vicinity.
That has local knowledge.
Yeah, for that can speak the language. Communicate to the people. That's what we are doing. That's how to prevent crime. Crime will always take place. But government job and responsibility is to make sure that it's prevented and people that are called people are prosecuted.
Are you not worried, Mr. Aruna, that this would be used by politicians in a different...
That is the idea. That is the idea of the founders, of the people that wrote that law, that bill. Go to that bill. Last week, I have a friend who is a
lawmaker.
DCP.
Okay.
My friend is a DCP.
Still serving.
Yeah, he's still serving, of course. And he sent me the video. There are many problems involved, but ultimately, it's supposed to work. Laws cannot just work without people who are involved. You know, our job is to make sure it works. Even the media has a job, has a duty. If state police is signed to law, the media will call the governor or anybody that is trying to abuse it to, my friend, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, and spotlights.
And people will be encouraged to go to court and test it. You know, you see, there are always merits and demerits of anything. This one, I think, the merits are more than the merits. Okay. They should be allowed to work. Let's try it.
I like what the particular point you made about, you know, an Auchi man being a DPO in Auchi, just the way it would be nice to have an Ogwashukwan as DPO in Ogwashuku.
Okay, let's still take a few more papers, then we'll go back to wrap up on Gbajagate, because Gbajagate is the biggest story on the front page of the
I think we should wrap up with Gbajagate.
Okay, have we taken all the headlines? ADC on Al Jazeera, ADC hails court judgment recognizing Mark's leadership. Obi to Nigerians, don't lose faith. I wanted to ask you, have Nigerians lost faith? Is this advice coming a little too late?
Obi says
don't lose faith in the electoral process, according to Obi.
By extension, don't lose faith in Professor Amokwitan.
That is what the chairman also said yesterday at a different forum. You see, thank God they know that people are beginning to lose interest in our elections. You know.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No. For the fact that they are raising it. You see, let me tell you, if you have a problem, I don't know if you have a problem, then you are in a mess. But also realize that you have a problem, the solution will come out. You see, for the fact that these leading characters, the political terrain, know that you have a problem, that means that you find a way around it. If you're in the dark, for goodness sake, you remain in the dark, but if you light the candle, you find a way out. That's Madeleine Albright, my U.S. Secretary of State. So I think that is the right thing to do. But more importantly is that Amokwitan should ensure a free and fair elections. Amokwitan was telling Nigeria 2 days ago that the process they have in place now, the technology they have in place now will prevent people trying to hijack election bosses, electoral material, and the rest. I think they should go further than that. They should be transparent. If Nigeria sees that we have an electoral system that is credible, that their votes are heard, that if they vote, their vote will count, they will be encouraged to participate in it.
Absolutely.
That's the only solution.
That will take a lot. But finally, regarding Gbajabiamila, what are your expectations for the next steps? The Bayo Onanuga has given his own statement. How do you expect the presidency to react? And do you expect Gbajabiamila to step aside?
Let me tell you, in Britain, the former Prime Minister of Britain, Boris, what is his name again? Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson was forced to resign because the police investigated what happened during COVID. The police, not the police. The police is not the Prime Minister.
Just
police,
for dancing.
The police, Prime Minister
for partying.
For partying. Control the police.
He did not steal money.
That's the country where they have institutions. This one is very, you see, one thing we don't know, what I tell people, what they don't know, they lack pragmatism. If you don't do it now, it become a haunt you later. It
will set a precedent.
Father wrote a letter to Obasanjo when he was president. Baba, please make sure you put in place strong institutions. That is what we defend democracy. And what we ensure accountability. That all of us will not be subject to the rule of tyranny, corrupt tyranny, few people. What I expect is for the president to tell Gbajabiamila to step down, to step aside, eventually to step down, and now ensure, give the directive to relevant agencies that should be involved in this to thoroughly investigate what happened. This man said he's ready to go to court. Defend himself in court against Gbajabiamila.
He's already in court.
That's a pointer.
Yeah, but Prince Adeniyi is in hiding.
He's ready to go to court. And I like Falana will be defending him.
Yeah, he
so
many things on the 27th of July.
Many times we come into play. If you say you have integrity, they will tell you that you don't have integrity. They will expose the country.
What's your advice?
So for now, to save the president, the man should tell his chief of staff to step aside. By retaining him, you're not helping yourself, your organization, and you're not helping the system. You know, institutions are meant to shape events, not men in power shaping institutions. That's not how society grows. Society will only grow if people in government are subservient to the rule of law, supremacy of law, and to the institutions that are guiding the system are allowed to control what we are doing. That's the only way.
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap up by looking at our video of the week. And the person who takes the video of the week for this week is no other than the video you're about to see. That makes the video of the week. Can we have that video of the week play out right now?
Majority leader and the speaker for good 4 years. I mean, he rose to be the number 4 citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the question becomes unaffordable. At what point in the process did reference to non-existent agency allegedly enter the official record? And if that are indeed present in an official documentation, what that implies about the integrity of the process that produced and approved those documents? For President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to assented his signature to a budget that includes a non-existent agency, according to his chief of staff, is an embarrassment.
Very vital questions asked there. On that note, thank you, Mr. Abibarona, for coming here.
Thank you, Mr. Abibarona.
Thank you all for watching. It's been a very fantastic show.
It's Friday, and I can't wait to see Joe Hansen in the discotheque in Agungi later when we are dancing. Let me What's that song?
That song. No, you sing it.